What's going on, Tamers? So, the Beelzemon Advanced deck recently released over here in Japan, and I basically bought two decks, and so we're going to test them out against each other in a head-to-head match. Now, these decks have not been messed with, or I haven't added any new cards to them at all, so what you're going to see are the cards that come in the actual Advanced deck. Anyway, on the first player side, we're going to evolve into the old Impmon here, and then play the new Tamer Ai and Mako. These guys are awesome. It's a nice little way for you to search, and then later on in the game, I'm going to be able to use them to gain memory, and also kind of stack my deck in a sort of way whenever I digivolve. Here, I got a bit of a choice to make. I think I'm going to grab, the level 6 Beelzemon here. And yeah, what's really important about this deck is stacking actually matters. Whenever you drop cards to the bottom of your deck, you have a really high chance of seeing them again because this deck mills through cards so quickly. Those bottom cards are probably going to be seen within the same match. Meanwhile, on player 2 side, I'm going to hatch the new Yamon egg. This guy's really good offensively. I think maybe the older Yamon that just discards 2 whenever you are deleted is a little bit better, but we'll use it for now. I'm going to digivolve into the new Foscomon. Just a 3-cost blocker. Keep in mind, can't attack other players, so he's solely used for defense. And then, yeah, so my first big mistake is playing the Porcupamon here. He's going to allow me to mill 2 cards at the top of my deck, and I tried to give my opponent only 1 memory to work with, but I kind of got screwed because I hit a Wizardmon, and I actually gained memory and my turn continued. That being said, I'm going to have to spend 3 memory here to play another Ai and Mako for the P2 side, and I'm going to be able to search through the deck again as well. I was hoping to give my opponent less memory to work with, but, I mean, I got a Tamer up, which isn't bad, so pretty decent trade overall. Meanwhile, I'm going to grab the Ballmon here, and again, stacking matters here, so I'm going to put the option on top, and then drop these at the bottom of the deck where they belong. Most of the Ballmons that have been released up to this point have been pretty lackluster, but this new one in the Advanced deck is actually fantastic, and we'll get to see it at work later on. Meanwhile, we're going to promote the Impmon here, and we're just going to swing with him. He has an own deletion effect, and milling cards off the top of the deck for this deck is definitely the thing you want to do, so opponent here is going to block, but yeah, I don't mind this. I don't care if this attack goes through or not. What it does allow me to do is go through the cards on the top of my deck. The first one is going to be Deathslinger, gain a memory. So now at 4. Next one here, nothing. And, yes, still not so great. One thing that you have to be really careful of when you're playing this deck is that you mill through so many cards, it can affect the balance of cards you can receive. So most decks have like that, 14 to 13 or 12. Rookies, sometimes you can mill all those rookies and it's going to be harder later on in the game to get them. Meanwhile, I'm going to use this Slinger in my hand to actually blast this Porcupamon right into the trash. 4-cost removal is such a good card, and the added bonus of being able to gain memory is even better. I also do have another Impmon in hand, and I need to get those cards in trash as soon as possible, and he's the way to do it. Meanwhile, on player 2 side, we're going to promote the Foscomon, another defensive Digimon that I raised up last turn. But I am going to digivolve this guy into the promotion Wizardmon. So this promo Wizardmon was actually kind of tough to get his hands on, at least in Asia when it released. So if you have a chance to grab this advanced deck, he's a great way to just get 4 of this card super fast. Now I'm going to do a little bit of reading here. One of the card game player's least notable skills, and that's going to be using the Ai and Mako to put a card on top of my deck from my hand, and I'm going to gain 1 memory whenever I digivolve into a purple Digimon. So I'm going to go back to 2 here. And then, yeah, with all this memory, I'm just going to go right back into the Ballmon that I picked up last turn. You're going to see Ballmon's effect go off here. He allows me to trash 3 cards off the top of my deck. First one, Deathslinger. So guess what? Gain another memory. My turn continues, suckers. Also going to see another Wizardmon. So now I'm at +1. And can I see one more? No, just Skull Satamon. But yeah, this Ballmon has a really cool effect, a secondary effect, that whenever cards are trashed during the turn, now on deletion, I can grab a Beelzemon from my trash and play it onto the field. I'm going to attack here, but first I'm going to use the Yamon's inheritance effect. He's going to allow me to mill 2 cards off the top of the deck, and one of those is going to be the level 7 Blast mode, aka Blicky mode. And he's going to allow me blast the Impmon into the trash. So dominoes of effects go off here. Impmon's going to also proc, and I'm going to be able to trash 3 cards off of player 1's deck. So there's a chance technically, I could have gotten some cards that would have swung the memory back in my favor, but unfortunately not going to happen. Meanwhile, security check happens here. Really weak Candlemon. And if I die anyway, I'm going to get a Beelzemon out of it, so I actually don't hate this. It's kind of a win-win situation here. And then just to, finish the turn up, I'm going to play the Candlemon here, who again is going to allow me to mill more cards off the top of the deck, and when he's destroyed, if I run him into security, then I'm going to be able to draw 1. So player 1 here is basically left with nothing. So we're going to start rebuilding back from 0. Going to hatch the Yamon again. And the question is, can I find level 3? I think I can. Got this fancy new super rare Impmon. This guy allows you to turbo or warp Digivolve into a Beelzemon outright if you have 20 cards in your trash. That'll be later on pretty useful. So I'm going to just keep him in raising for now. If you want to play a fun drinking game during this video, take a shot every time I have to count the amount of cards in my trash, and you might be dead by the end of this video. Gonna do a quick count right there just to make sure. And yeah, how do I get rid of this pesky Ballmon? And if I do get rid of him this turn, he's gonna get a Beelzemon for free, my opponent, which is no bueno. So is there any way I can do anything? Hand's looking pretty rough, mostly level 5s and level 6. I'm just gonna hard play a Skull Satamon here, give my opponent 5 to work with. Not an optimal play, but honestly, there really wasn't much else I could have done there. I had a Warring Shots in hand, so I could have destroyed it, but I don't want to destroy the Ballmon and then proc another Beelzemon. Meanwhile, on player 1 side, looking real good. You got 2 Digimon on board. Gonna raise up another one here off the Yamon I just hatched. Good old Candlemon. And yeah, things are looking up. If you were able to peep my hand there, then you know that I do have the deck's poster boy. Make some room here so we can drop our big fat level 6 Beelzemon. This guy's about to do some work. We all know that card game players can't read, but in this case I also cannot count because I gotta spend 5 to get this guy out, which might hurt me in the long run. But with him on the board, he's normally a 4-cost Digivolve, so I added one there, unfortunately. We're going to rest the Iron Mako here, so this allows me to place a card on top of my deck. Don't need the second tamer here, I already got one out. It's going to allow me to gain 1 memory, so go back to 1 here. Now, I can, this is kind of cool because you can mess with the order of effects here. I opt to do the Beelzemon second because I don't really need the tamer there. Meanwhile, on the top of the deck here, I grab, or I mill a Deathslinger. Fantastic, give me another memory there. And yeah, he's a 4-card mill whenever you Digivolve into him. This new Beelzemon from the advanced stack. Additionally, he's going to allow me to get, gain memory for every 10 cards in my trash here. And I believe I only have like 14 or so here, if memory serves me correctly. So I'm only going to gain 1 more off of that. But I mean, this is a 4-cost Digivolve, or 5-cost if you're stupid. But I got so much memory back from him. Really great value. He also is going to gain security attack +1 whenever cards are milled. Because he does that himself, then you just gain that effect on the turn that you Digivolve. Yeah, trying to figure out how I'm going to do the order of effects here. I'm just going to activate the Yamon and just mill 2 more cards. Just see if I can get anything good here. It's going to be a Ballmon, unfortunately, and yeah, Skull Satamon, so nothing great. It takes me a second here, but I realized that I was checking security, and I should probably actually check the security here. So let's see what we get on the top. Oh, spoilers. We're going to grab a Witchmon here. And then the second one here is going to be, ooh, another Deathslinger. This card is pretty good no matter where it pops up, either off the top of the deck, your hand, or off security. Gonna allow it to activate the main effect, which is delete level 4 or higher. For every 10 cards in your trash, you can increase the level by 1. I can't delete level 5, but Beelzemon is a little too big, so we're just gonna delete the Candlemon here. Yeah, but honestly, that's pretty okay with me. Candlemon's effect, again, if I have 10 cards in my trash, then I'm gonna be able to draw a card. And I do have more than 10, so that's a-okay. Again, if you're keeping up with the drinking game, you take a shot right there because I just counted the cards in my trash. Alright. Now, we're going to go 1 step beyond here. We're going to Digivolve into the Blast mode. And this is where messing up my memory really hurt me because it puts my opponent at 1. And the Beelzemon Blast mode does have the ability to, first off, unrest himself. And also, if I have 20 or more cards in the trash, I can gain 3 memory. Unfortunately, I don't have 20 or more cards in the trash. So, my turn ends here where it should have continued. I should have been able to get another swing, but yeah. Remember, kids, count your memory correctly. It's the only thing you have in this world. So yeah, player 2 had a fantastic turn there, but they actually left the Skull Satamon up. So I'm just going to promote the Impmon here, put him alongside the Skull Satamon. And yeah, outside of the Deathslingers and maybe Warring Shots, this deck doesn't actually have a lot of removal as far as Digimon are concerned. You've got the Beelzemon mill effect, but like Digivolving into Digimon, you're not really going to be able to take out things on your opponent's side of the board. So something to keep in mind whenever you're like, you know, adding to this deck. You probably want to put some Digivolution or Digimon that actually destroy other Digimon by effects here. You see me Digivolve into the Porcupamon there. I don't get his own play effect because this is Digivolution, but I do get to activate Iron Mako, and because I gave my opponent 1 memory with that Digivolution, I can use these guys to put a card back on top of my deck and then put it back over to 0 so my turn continues. And then I'm really hard pressed for removal answers. I'm just gonna have to play Warring Shots for the hard 7. It does get rid of him, but at what cost? Yeah, he does have a Candlemon in the back, and he could probably build it up again, so I just have to be really careful here. The thing is, I don't have to worry about the blast mode anymore, but if he has another one in hand, this could be a problem. So Candlemon's going to come out here, and with 7 memory, he could really just go right back up to level 6 if he had it. We're going to start to see that play with the Witchmon here. Witchmon's new effect of being able to drop 3 off the top of the deck when Digivolve is really nice. Unfortunately, all duds here. Didn't really get much off of it. Do I want to use the Iron Mako? Not quite yet. I am going to just play the Candlemon out here just to see what I can find off of the top here. Oof. This is just the regular Beelzemon. No actual effects whenever you dump this guy. I think the EX2 Beelzemon does have effects, so you probably want to grab a couple of those copies whenever you're going to beat this deck up. I also see the Beelstarmon, who also has no effect there. So I think I'm just going to swing in here with my Witchmon and see what I can grab. I only have 2 security to go through, so I'm really trying to close out the game here. I'm going to use Yamon's effect again to mill 2 cards off the top of the deck whenever I attack. Again, 2 more duds. Player 2 realizes I should probably protect my security here, so we're going to block with the Porcupamon. He's going to be destroyed. And player 2 is going to continue with the Wizardmon Digivolve here, and I think I do decide to use the Iron Mako this time. Mill it over for a second. No, actually I'm just going to use it with this Balmon instead. And Balmon again, 3 cost Digivolve. I draw a card out, and at this point I realize my deck is getting really thin. Like really thin. So I'm gonna stack some cards on top of my deck so I don't deck myself out here. Gonna drop the Iron Mako, this effect, and I'm going to put maybe Deathslinger here on the top, so I can gain some memory out of this. If you've been taking notes, and you do know that Balmon does allow me to mill some cards off the top of the deck. So there goes the Deathslinger. Gave myself 1 more memory. Can I grab 1 more card? No, a Warring Shots is good though. And the Foscomon here. The Warring Shots card, whenever you mill it, is fantastic. It allows you to basically drop it on the field, and then a later turn, you can grab any Tamer or Purple Digimon you need from your trash in case you've milled something you needed to kind of like bridge your gap from your level 3s to your level 6s. Meanwhile, on player 1's turn, they're going to use the Skull Satamon to run into the Witchmon. We've got to get rid of the attackers on player 2's side and keep their board as light as possible. The Balmon, though, is kind of scary to deal with because it does have the ability to go into a Beelzemon if I destroy it. Meanwhile, I'm going to Digivolve into Beelzemon on player 1's side as well. And this deck's really thick, so I can still go through a lot of cards here. So we're going to swing the board over to the opponent's side for 3. Going to use the Iron Mako. Place the Wizardmon on top of my deck here, and then activate Beelzemon's effect. Gain 1 memory off the Iron Mako. And then the Beelzemon effect goes off. I can mill 4 cards off the top of my trash. One of those is going to be the Wizardmon I just put there. Neat little combo you can do here with the deck. And then it's like another Iron Mako, Skull Satamon, and anything good? Oof. 3rd Tamer. I think that's all the Tamers for the deck now. The cool thing here is, keep in mind, he does have that secondary effect. Whenever you drop cards into the trash, for every 10 cards there, you can gain a memory. So it's 10. I think I have just exactly 20, so I really lucked out here. It pushes the memory counter back to my turn. The Beelzemon here is also going to gain security attack +1, and I don't have the Beelzemon blast mode, so I'm going to actually use the Warring Shots and grab one that I milled in the trash earlier in the game. Again, Warring Shots is a fantastic card, and now I can use my memory here to go right into the Beelzemon blast mode on player 1's side. Thanks, Warring Shots, much appreciated. He's also going to allow me to unsuspend. He's going to cost 4 memory, but because I have 20 cards in trash, I remember I traded the Warring Shots here for the Beelzemon blast mode. He's going to allow me to gain 3 memory, and my turn continues again. And now I have security attack +1, and I'm 14k, so pretty thick boy here. Gonna check the security on my opponent's side because no blockers. We're gonna get 2 checks. Gonna try and come back in this game. And yeah, 2 little weenies there, so no problem. It's at this point that I realize, oh yeah, I still have like my turn. So I just go ahead and Digivolve to the Foscomon in Raising here. A nice little blocker I can potentially use next turn, but I make the dumb mistake here of going right into the Wizardmon. I feel like I need more blockers, and this wasn't the way to do it, but it was a way to like choke my opponent out and give them less memory. Meanwhile, on player 2's side, that deck is looking real thin. And this is like the first point that I realize it. And we're going to hash the Yamon here. You got to be really careful. Like, I don't really want to Digivolve too much, but I want to get myself an out to win before those cards run out. So I'm going to Digivolve into the Impmon here. He's a potential Beelzemon. The question is, how do I follow up the turn without killing myself? I think the best way to do that is first attacking with Balmon to get rid of one of those security. In the midst of that attack, I can use the Wizardmon's Inheritance effect to stack a card on the top of my deck. So trying to just add something there so I don't kill myself. And I'm just going to check a Porcupine, which means my Balmon is going to survive there. And at this point, I think I need to use the Warring Shots card here and try and find some way out of this. And I think I opt for the Beelzemon here. Should have gotten like another Impmon like I have in Raising. That way I can just swing without having to like Digivolve or get over anything. So again, really weird mistake here. Probably not the best move, in my opinion. I think it's definitely a better move I could have made here. But I am going to end up just going into the Beelzemon, even though I can't do anything with him. Again, it feels kind of like a waste, but yeah, here we are. So we're going to Digivolve into Beelzemon. Going to give my opponent 2 to work with. Going to draw for Digivolution, and then I'm going to use Beelzemon's effect to discard cards off the top of my deck. Here's a neat little trick you can do. You can use Beelzemon's effect first, and then you can activate the Iron Mako Tamer's effect, so you can stack a card on top of your deck and keep yourself alive for at least one more turn. So I'm going to do this, gain 1 memory from their effect, and now keep in mind I do have the Beelzemon effect up as well, which means for every 10 cards in my trash, I'm going to be able to gain 1 memory. And because most of my deck is already in there, I'm going to be gaining at least 3 memory here. I believe it was like 33 cards or 34 cards, somewhere in there. Again, take a shot here if you're playing the drinking game, counting through my trash once again. And you're going to swing back over to 2. My turn continues, and this allows me to play 1 more Digimon just so I can get another swing off to try to close the game out next turn. Now, player 1 is in a really precarious position at this point. They are 1 turn away from their opponent decking out, or at least 2 turns in this case, but they're also only at 1 security, and their opponent has 3 shots lined up on their side of the board potentially. So we've got to be able to take out some of those shots and then stop our opponent for at least 2 turns here to win the game. Problem is, my hand is real light on blockers, and if you've been paying attention, most of my blockers were actually in security, so there was almost no chance for me to draw them out over the course of the game. Just going to do a quick check here of how many cards I have in trash. This is like somewhere around 20 or so. I was much more, I guess, reasonable in my milling, or I guess slower is another way you can translate that. From this deck, I'm just going to swing here with my Beelzemon Blast Mode into their Beelzemon, because I don't want any trouble, and I don't want to have another shot for my opponent to just try to take the game. So we're going to get rid of the Beelzemon here, swing over him, 14k versus 12k, not a problem. The question is, how do I get rid of that Impmon? The Impmon is actually the problem, and hindsight 2020, probably should have played that Warring Shots, but that is absolutely not going to happen here, because I don't want to give my opponent 7 memory. There's, I guess, a world where I could think my opponent could use the Impmon in the back, Digivolve into Beelzemon with it, and then swing, and then Digivolve into Beelzemon Blast Mode, unsuspend, and then swing again if I gave them too much memory, so that is one consideration. And even knowing that as an out for my opponent, I probably should have actually gone for that route anyway, but I'm just going to Digivolve here into the Balmon, and just give them 2 memory to work with, no blockers here, and just pray that there's a Death Slinger somewhere here under security. JK. Going to use the Iron Mako Tamer here, stack something on top of the board. It's going to be a Warring Shots, and I'm going to gain some memory here back. Additionally, we're going to use the Balmon's effect of milling cards off the top of the deck, and hopefully I can get at least 1 more memory. The Warring Shots here comes down, which means I can place it on board to be used later on, but unfortunately, the Witchmon and Beelstarmon is not useful here. I am going to be able to gain 1 memory off the Skull Sadamon's Inheritance ability, though. Completely forgot about this until I just looked down at the board. So keep in mind of all your Inheritance effects, kids. And unfortunately here, with no memory to work with, I also could not find a blocker, and so I think I'm just going to have to play one of these dumb level 3s and pass the turn. Yeah, we're just going to play the Candlemon here. He's going to give me 3. There's no way that off of 2 cards I can swing the memory back in my favor. I'm going to mill another Tamer, and then I believe that is, yeah, Foscomon. And now player 2 has the 2 shots lined up. He has the last card from the deck. Have 2 Impmons here, and I'm just going to promote. And I guess it's nothing left to do but swing, yeah? I could get fancy and stuff, but I mean, I don't have a deck to draw from, and this is all I really have. I can't really play anything else out. So there's the first swing here with the Impmon. Pray this is not a Death Slinger. Oof. It was not. It was actually Digimon with blocker, something that player 1 could have used. unfortunately, all of those bad boys were in security. And, you know, just for posterity's sake, if I'm going to win, I might as well win with the poster child. So I'm going to use the Impmon here. I definitely got way more than 20 cards in my trash, so the requirements are definitely met when I attack. I'm just going to Digivolve into the Beelzemon whenever I attack and close out the game with my opponent's no security there. Can't mill any cards from Beelzemon's effect, but hey, guess what? They don't have any security, so we're all good. It's all Gucci. I had played and recorded a couple games before this, but none were like this drawn out and like this like back and forth. So I will say that the one thing that really surprised me is that this advanced deck is way better than any starter deck that has ever been released for the game. It's incredibly strong. The cards in it are very useful, and I think that lots of people are actually trying this deck out. They're souping up the cards with some of the X antibody stuff that dropped in BT12. They're also just trying out some of the old Beelzemon stuff that came out, the old like Secret Rare Blast Mode, as well as the Super Rare EX2 Beelzemon, and I think they're having a lot of success with it. So I'm really excited to take a look at the results later this weekend and see how well this deck fared against the current meta, because it is much, much stronger than I think anybody could have imagined. As an aside, like I noticed that the prices for the EX2 Beelzemon and the Blast Modes have skyrocketed as well. I think in some places it was like $20 for one Beelzemon after the deck came out. People realized that it was actually pretty strong. So yeah, lots to be excited about for this new Beelzemon Advanced deck. If you're on the Ian side of the game, grab those Beelzemons now, but before the price goes up. And yeah, when this Advanced deck drops on the Ian side, grab yourself one or two, because there's a lot of nice little goodies in this deck, as well as some really cool promos. If you want to know more about that, I did a video on all of this, and you can check it out on my YouTube channel as well. Thanks for watching, folks. Do me a favor, before you get out of here, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.